Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. And this one is really focused on how to sell when it feels like nobody's buying.
Yeah, it seems like based on all the stuff you sent over, you're really interested in, like a practical strategies for tough economic times.
Exactly. And luckily we have some great resources to help us unpack this.
Yeah.
We've got excerpts from Dave Lakhani's book, How to Sell When Nobody's Buying.
Which is a really good framework for just, sort of thinking about this whole challenge.
For sure. And then we've got some insights from other experts like Scott Stratton. He's got a lot to say about these, what he calls sophisticated basics.
Hmm.
And then we've got Craig Ernst, a real estate expert, and then Dr. Rachna Jain, who's really a marketing guru.
Yeah, I like this mix because we can look at like the overall mindset you need, but then get specific with different situations.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive in.
Okay.
So Lakhani, right off the bat, he kind of sets the stage by saying, look, when things get tough, you can't just give in to despair. You have to adapt, be resilient, and maybe even get a little creative.
That really resonates with me because, I've seen firsthand how important mindset is. You can have all the sales techniques in the world, but if you don't have that positive attitude, it's going to be so much harder.
Absolutely. And speaking of attitude, I love how Lakhani digs into this 45-15 formula for time management.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's pretty intense.
It is intense, but, think about it. Have you ever procrastinated on a big sales task or felt totally burned out?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
I think we all have, and that's what this formula is designed for. Like, work in focused 45-minute bursts
Okay.
and then take a 15-minute break to recharge.
Oh, so it's kind of like interval training, but for your brain.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
makes a lot of sense.
And I think that structure can really help you stay focused and avoid those energy slumps we all get in the afternoon.
For sure, for sure. And, he takes it even a step further. He suggests hiring a virtual assistant.
Which I know can sound like a luxury.
Right, especially when you're trying to be,
Hmm.
cost conscious.
Totally. But he breaks down how affordable it can be. And when you consider how much time it frees up
Yeah,
to focus on things like closing deals,
the high-value tasks.
it makes a lot of sense.
That is a really interesting perspective. And, it makes me think about how often we get stuck in the habit of trying to do everything ourselves.
Yes, 100% it's a trap.
And Lacani's like, no delegate, get help.
Work smarter, not harder, right?
Exactly. And then another key point he brings up is this idea of building your personal brand.
Yes.
I know a lot of people feel uncomfortable with that.
Like it's bragging or something.
Yeah, it feels icky,
I get that.
self-promotion.
But really think of it as showcasing your expertise.
Okay,
You're highlighting your knowledge and experience. So potential clients see you as a valuable resource.
okay, so it's not just about like tooting your own horn.
Right.
It's about strategically positioning yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. And he actually gets really specific, right, about how to do this.
He does.
He talks about getting your own domain name, setting up a simple website,
Hmm.
putting together a compelling bio.
Yeah. And that website becomes like your home base.
Right.
You can share testimonials from happy clients, highlight your past successes, and really show what makes you unique.
He even had that funny tip about humanizing your bio
Yes.
by adding a little humor, talking about your hobbies. You don't seem like a sales robot.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, people want to work with someone they can connect with.
Right, someone who gets them. Yeah, for sure. And then he talks about creating content like white
Yeah.
papers and articles.
Which is another way to demonstrate your expertise.
Okay.
You're giving people valuable information that they're actually looking for.
So you become a thought leader.
You got it.
Okay, so we've got the right mindset, we're managing our time effectively, and we're putting ourselves out there as experts.
Check, and check.
What's next?
Well, Lakhani gets into some really cool digital tools for finding and connecting with potential clients.
Okay.
He talks about using Google Alerts.
Oh, yeah. To stay on top of what's happening with companies or industries you want to target.
Okay, remind me how those work again.
So you set up alerts for specific keywords,
Mm-hmm.
and then Google sends you updates whenever those terms are mentioned online.
Oh, that's right. So you can track potential clients' announcements, see what's happening in their industry, or even when they're mentioned in the news.
Exactly. It's like a personalized newsfeed delivered right to you.
That's amazing. And, I think for a lot of people, this might be a totally new approach, especially if they're used to those more traditional methods.
Yeah, it's definitely a shift, but it's super powerful. And then you've got the whole world of online networking and social selling
Yeah.
using platforms like LinkedIn to build relationships with potential clients.
So instead of cold calling or sending generic emails, you're actually engaging with people online,
Exactly.
sharing valuable content.
Yeah.
building a network of leads.
Building trust and rapport over time.
Right,
So
yeah.
when you do reach out, you're not a stranger.
You're already a familiar face.
Exactly. Oh, I like that. Okay. This is all starting to come together. We're starting to see how these different pieces fit into a larger strategy for succeeding in sales, even when the market feels tough.
And that's what we're going to keep unpacking as we go.
I'm excited to see where this goes. Are you ready to move on to the next stage of our journey?
Let's do it. I think you'll be surprised by some of these techniques Lakhani recommends for getting noticed. So, we were talking about building that strong foundation, right, mindset, time management, and personal branding.
Right.
Well, now let's get into some of Lakhani's ideas for, like actually getting attention from potential clients.
Okay.
He has this whole section on ethical inducements that I found really interesting.
Yeah, that caught my eye too, because at first I was like, oh, is this going to be about,
shady stuff.
yeah, like questionable tactics.
Right.
But it's actually the opposite. It's
Yeah.
about providing real value,
Yeah,
not trying to bribe anyone.
exactly. It's like strategic generosity.
I like that.
And he even gives you this formula to figure out, like, is an inducement worth the cost? So it's not just about throwing money around.
Right.
It's an investment.
It's strategic.
Yeah.
I like it. And he had some really clever examples like offering a white paper or a free webinar on a topic your ideal client cares about. Or even something as simple as a small, thoughtful gift.
Oh, yeah. And he even talks about sending an autographed copy of his own book as an inducement.
That's awesome.
It's about being memorable,
I love that, like going the extra mile.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so how does that tie into the idea of drip campaigns? Because that sounded kind of technical to me.
So it's actually pretty simple. Think of it like this. You're planting a seed with a potential client.
Okay.
And a drip campaign is about consistently nurturing that seed over time.
Okay.
You're staying top of mind, but without being pushy.
Okay, so it's not a one-off interaction.
Right.
It's like you're building a relationship through a series of messages or interactions.
Lakhani shares this 8-step drip campaign that he uses for sales directors and meeting planners. And some of the elements are really unexpected.
Oh, like what?
Like sending a giant red ball with a handwritten message.
Oh, that's the sendable comment, right?
You got it.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Talk about memorable.
I can't imagine anyone throwing that away.
No way.
They're at least going to be like, what is this?
Yeah.
And he also talks about sending a postcard from like a tropical location or a tin of Altoids with a little note.
Oh, yeah. Playing on the Curiously Strong slogan.
So clever.
Yeah.
It's about being playful and creative.
For sure.
And standing out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Don't be afraid to be different.
Be different.
All right, but what happens once you've actually landed a client?
All right.
Do you just move on to the next one?
Not according to Lakhani.
Okay.
He actually says that the moment a client says yes is a prime opportunity to potentially sell more.
Oh, so he calls this upselling, right? It's offering additional products or services that go along with their initial purchase.
The classic example is McDonald's.
Right.
Do you want fries with that?
Yes. Such a classic example.
It seems so simple, but it's incredibly effective at increasing the overall sale.
Yeah, so you're capitalizing on that momentum and offering something that, enhances their experience.
Exactly.
Or solves another problem they might have.
And if they're hesitant, you can always do what Lakhani calls the downsell.
Well, okay.
Offer a smaller or less expensive alternative.
Got it.
So you're giving them options,
Okay.
but still keeping the conversation going.
So it's like, okay, maybe you don't want the full meal deal, but how about a side order?
Exactly.
I like that.
You're still providing value and potentially closing a sale,
Right.
even if it's not the initial thing you offered.
And then there's bundling packaging products or services together
Right.
at a discount.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
You're increasing the value for the customer and boosting your average sale.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so Lakhani is really challenging us to think beyond that one-time transaction.
Yes. He sees it as the beginning of a relationship.
Right.
And one of the most powerful tools for building that relationship
Is storytelling.
storytelling.
I knew we'd get to this. I love a good story.
Me too.
So I was really interested to see how he applied it to sales.
It's about connecting with people on an emotional level,
Okay.
going beyond just listing features and benefits.
Right.
You're painting a picture with words,
I like that.
helping them see how your product or service can make their lives better.
So instead of saying, this software will save you time and money, you're telling a story about a real person
Exactly.
who struggled with those same issues and how the software transformed their business.
And Lakhani gives you specific questions to ask prospects
Okay.
that'll help them tell their own stories.
Oh, that's good.
And then you can weave those into your pitch.
Right.
It's way more powerful than just data points.
Oh, for sure. It's about making it personal, relatable, showing that you understand their challenges.
Okay, speaking of challenges,
Okay.
selling to groups can be tough.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just one person you have to convince.
Right. It's a whole room full of opinions.
Lakhani has a section on mass influence
Yeah.
where he gets into selling to groups.
That part was a little intimidating, to be honest.
I hear you. It can definitely be more complex.
Yeah.
But one key point is this idea of divide and conquer.
Okay.
Instead of trying to win over the whole group at once,
Right.
you focus on building relationships with individuals.
Okay, so creating those one-on-one connections.
Yeah.
Even within a larger group setting.
But then how do you manage the group dynamics?
Right, because it seems like it could get chaotic.
Totally. And that's where communicate and control comes in.
Okay.
You need to be in charge of the flow of information and the
Right.
tone of the conversation.
Okay.
So Lakhani gives tips on handling objections, addressing concerns, keeping everyone focused.
And I remember he also talks about the importance of finding the consensus creator.
Yes, the person who seems to have the most influence over the others.
Right, if you can get them on board.
It's like finding your champion.
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered a lot here, from ethical inducements and drip campaigns to the power of storytelling and the art of selling to groups. But we haven't even talked about social media yet.
I know, and that's where Dr. Rachna Jain comes in.
Yes.
She has some amazing insights on using the digital world for sales.
Which we'll get to next. All right, so we're ready to explore the world of social media with Dr. Rachna Jain. And I have to admit, this is where I feel the least confident, so I'm eager to hear her take on all this.
Me too. It seems like things are constantly changing in the digital world.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
It is, but Jane gives us a good framework,
Okay.
starting with understanding your target audience and their online behavior.
Right, because just being on every platform isn't enough.
Not at all. You need to know where your ideal clients are and what they're doing online.
And what they're responding to.
Exactly. She talks about this concept called microfragmentation,
Okay.
which basically means people are self-selecting into smaller and smaller online groups based on their interests.
Oh, so instead of trying to reach everyone,
Right.
you need to get really specific.
Exactly. Find those niche communities where your message will resonate.
I like that. Okay. And then how does her DPT profile fit into all this?
So that stands for demographics, psychographics, and technographics.
Okay, demographics and psychographics make sense, but technographics is a new one for me.
So technographics is all about how people use technology and their level of engagement online.
Okay.
Like, are they creating content or just passively scrolling?
So you could have two people with similar demographics and psychographics, but one might be a social media influencer and the other barely uses it.
Exactly. And knowing that can really help you tailor your strategy.
Okay, that's super helpful.
And Jane provides tips for researching online behavior using tools like Google Analytics and Quantcast.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those.
They can give you insights into who's visiting your website, their interests, and even their online shopping habits.
It's like having a virtual detective.
It is.
Okay, so once you have a good understanding of your target audience, then what?
Then Jane dives into the different types of social media platforms that are most relevant for sales.
Okay, there are a lot.
There are a lot. She talks about blogs, content sharing sites, business reputation sites, microblogging platforms like Twitter, social networking sites like Facebook Q&A sites, video and photo sharing sites, mobile platforms and special interest sites.
Okay, so basically everything.
Pretty much. But the good news is you don't have to be on every single one.
Right. Choose the ones that make sense for your audience and your goals.
Exactly. And she gives examples of how to use each platform for sales success.
Like, what are some examples?
So LinkedIn is great for building professional connections and positioning yourself as an expert.
And I've heard Twitter is good for joining conversations about trending topics.
Yes, but it's all about providing value, not just spamming people.
Right, and then Facebook is more about building a community and engaging with people on a personal level.
Exactly. And for visual businesses, Instagram and Pinterest can be super powerful.
I could see that.
But Jane emphasizes that social media isn't a quick fix.
Right.
It takes time, effort, and consistency.
You have to be patient.
You do. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a good way to put it. So we've gone from mindset and time management to personal branding, creative outreach, and now mastering social media.
We have covered a lot of ground.
We have. And I think the key takeaway is that success in sales is about more than just closing deals.
It is.
It's about building relationships, providing value, and being adaptable.
You got it.
Oh, and before we wrap up, I want to mention something Craig Ernst said that really resonated with me.
Okay, what's that?
He's our real estate expert, and he emphasizes the importance of building a strong client database
Right.
and having a system for staying in touch with those contacts.
Yeah, he talks about fencing in a portion of the market.
I love that analogy. It's like creating a loyal following.
Exactly, and he's a big believer in personal prospecting, like walking a neighborhood and introducing yourself to people.
Oh, wow.
I know it takes guts,
Yeah.
but it can be incredibly effective.
Yeah, you're putting a face to a name.
Yeah, and he suggests creating a simple market report or offering a free home evaluation as a way to provide value.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah.
It's about being proactive.
It is.
So it seems like from all these experts, success in sales really boils down to building relationships, providing value, and being adaptable.
I think that's a great summary.
Yeah, well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on sales.
Me too, and I hope everyone listening got some great takeaways.
Yeah, what resonated most with you from all of this information? What one action can you take this week to move your sales goals forward?
That's a great question to think about.
It is thanks to everyone for joining us on this journey into the world of sales. We hope you learned something valuable that will help you thrive no matter what challenges come your way. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep closing those deals.